to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We got a really good crowd, and I just started this CYP, Young Professionals, and I'm pretty excited about it, and they asked me to speak and kind of tell a little bit about my story, where I came from, how I ended up back in Carroll after kind of traveling the world a little bit, and pretty much growing up, I started out here in Carroll playing at the rec center like a lot of these other kids, and had these big dreams of playing college basketball, and I didn't know how far it would really take me, and I kind of just took it one step at a time. Went through the whole high school, AAU, and just kept getting better and better, and got attention from colleges, and ended up choosing Iowa State. I thought it was a great decision, and pretty much kind of like how Chad alluded to, all the coaching changes happened, and I just kind of felt like in my heart, I grew up a Hawkeye fan, and wanted to make sure that wherever I went to college, because a lot of people don't understand when you're playing college athletics, it seems almost most of your time is spent on the floor rather than in the classroom. So, you spend a lot of time with the coaches and the players, and that's pretty much your family all around. So I wanted to go somewhere where I was going to be able to have fun and play out and have a great career. So I ended up transferring to Iowa, which really turned the tables, and a lot of people were frustrated in the state. That's one of the good things about UNI. Everybody cheers for UNI. No, I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about UNI, football, basketball, whatever. So I'm really happy for those guys. But I think the biggest thing for me was the family and the time at Carroll. Like I said, there's a lot of good people, players, students that came out of this community and have left their impact all throughout the state, all throughout the country. And we're so blessed in this town to have so many opportunities. And I'll get back to it later, but that's one of the big reasons why Ken and I moved back. We traveled the world, and we got to meet a lot of people, and this just felt like home for us. But in college, I always loved playing in the state, especially for Iowa. Even though you have your ups and downs and wins and losses, it was great to live out that dream and experience. And I got to play for 2 NCAA appearances. We never got a win, and it's one thing we always wanted, but we got to win a Big Ten championship, which when you're in college, and I know there's a lot of controversy between Coach Alford and the university, but that was our family there, and I just loved my times, my experiences. Getting to play at Michigan State or Ohio State. Those are things that you build bonds with people, and that's one of the things I'll never forget. Some people always ask, what was a daily schedule like? We literally practiced like 4 to 5 hours a day, 3 on the court, conditioning, weight room stuff. So, I know Kendra had a lot of good times in college because she was able to skip school, go to the mall, go out to eat with some friends, and I was always busting my butt trying to, make things work on, the school side of it, basketball side of it, and it all ended up paying off, and I had a lot of fun. We had great teams, and I really enjoyed my year. My senior year came up. Jeff Warner, Greg Bruner, the team that we had the year before that was ranked in the top 15, and we got a 3 seed in the tournament, all pretty much left. It was me, Mikey Henderson were the only 2 seniors, and a lot was kind of put on our plate to have a good, successful year. And we worked really hard in the off season, and I never really was planning on playing at the professional level. I can put it down. Somebody, if everybody can hear me, but
I'll take it. Sorry.
I never saw myself playing at like the professional level. It's just one of those things where I was planning on possibly maybe doing a little bit of overseas stuff, but that's kind of why I hit the classroom so hard, because I never envisioned having that opportunity. But I was pretty blessed to have a pretty good senior year. I worked pretty hard in the off season, and I started to get some attention from scouts, some agents. So I graduated early and went over to California and worked out pretty much full time from 8 in the morning till about 5 in the afternoon. Is it better?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Worked out pretty much all day. I had a nutritionist and everything all set up and lined up through my agent. It was kind of an easy schedule. I'd get up in the morning, go work out 4 or 5 hours. They'd have meals cooked for us, come back, work out again. And it just so happened I worked out well at the right times and ended up getting drafted 43rd in the NBA to the Hornets. And I don't know, I was sitting out here on draft night. I was in Carroll. I shot at the high school that day, and people were asking me, what do you think your chances are? I had no clue. I had a couple teams that said if I was available, they were going to look at me. And, being from Carroll, Iowa, I sat at my wife's family's house. We were outside. We grilled out that night, and I just watched the TV and saw my name come across, and I couldn't believe it. Being from Carroll, I don't think many people in Iowa ever get that chance. But like I said, if it wasn't for family, friends, everybody involved, that would have pushed me and led me to make the right decisions and to work as hard as I did. I don't think I ever got to that level. So a lot of people ask about experiences in the NBA. I've got some pretty good stories. A lot of them, sometimes you can't always tell. But a funny thing was, when I was in Iowa, I drove a Mercury Sable. It was an 03 Sable, had like 50,000 miles on it. That's what I brought down to New Orleans. So when we were going to practice every day, I was parking next to, $150,000 vehicles. And a lot of the guys were like, whose Sable is out? And that was great too, because we got to meet guys like Chris Paul, Tyson Chandler, David West, and, a whole number of other guys. And, you build relationships with those guys. I remember growing up, you think they're, almost superhuman, but, they're people just like us. And kind of what they go through on a daily schedule. It's fun to really watch and see how dedicated they are. Another story, people kind of ask, what was it like stepping on the floor? My first time I stepped on the floor, we played a preseason game in Oklahoma City with the Houston Rockets, and Tracy McGrady was on the team. And I didn't start, but I came in after like 10 minutes, and Tracy McGrady came in the same time I did. And if anybody knows him, he's an all-star. He's one of the great players of this era. He came in and he checked in and he kind of looked at me and he looked at my coach and he said, who in the hell is this guy? And I just kind of shrugged. I didn't even know what to say. I was just happy to be on the court, guard him. And our coach said, it's our rookie, it's our second round pick. And Tracy McGrady said, all right. So for about the first 5 minutes of that game, when he came in, he just went at me every single possession. And finally got a bucket and got checked out. So I was glad to see him get off the floor for a little bit. I had some injuries, though. That was the biggest thing. I started playing well, and I thought, maybe it'd be nice to have a nice career. Messed my ankle up really bad, and I thought, what am I going to do? Never really been hurt before. That was kind of my staple in college. I was always injury-free. Got hurt, ended up having to have surgery. Got traded. There was a deal for me to go to Athens, Greece, and play. Kendra was about 6 months pregnant, and we were planning on having the baby in Carroll. I didn't want to have to go overseas late in the year and possibly miss out on the birth of our firstborn. So I ended up staying home and played with the Energy. That summer again, I ended up having to have more surgeries. Went to Summer League, ended up playing decent in one game, and a team in Israel, Jerusalem, had found out about me, and I remember sitting at Rancho Grande when I got the news from my agent that Israel had a nice offer on the table, and I looked at everybody and they were all sick. And I was like, why? What's the deal? And everybody thinks about Israel. They think of the wars, the fighting. And I called a couple people, and they all said, if you ever get a chance to go to Israel, you have to go do it. And I told my wife, let's start packing. So we had an 8-week-old daughter. Didn't know who we were going to meet when we got there. We went through airport security, and we got asked about 1 million questions because the security's so tight when you fly into Israel. And I didn't get to sit next to Kendra on the plane. There was an aisle. She sat right over here, and I can remember looking at her, and she's bawling on the way over. Where's Carroll? In western Iowa. What's your population? 10,000. To me, that's a big city. I grew up in Adair when I was little. That was about 800, and we had a Casey's, and I thought it was a big deal to go to Casey's and get a pop. Now we've got Super Walmart out there that's, about as big as the town of Adair. So it just felt right. This is where we wanted to be, and this fall I was planning on heading back to Israel, and I had another contract on the table, and I looked around, and poor Kendra, she was crying again. And we really grew accustomed to the town, and we were starting to really build relationships with people, and ended up turning it down. I had an offer with Principal Financial on the table for a while. And it just felt like the place to be. I wanted to watch my brother grow up and play his last year of football and basketball, and really become a part of this community.